When David Ornstein of The Athletic was asked which player Manchester United need to sign or who he thinks United need to sign, it wasn't Adam Wharton, it wasn't Antoine Semenyo, it wasn't Elliot Anderson. It was, of course, Carlos Baleba. Now, why is this important? Why are we even talking about this right now? Well, David Ornstein of The Athletic, the only man that usually, alongside Fabrizio Romano, generally gets it bang on the money, has come out and said that nothing has changed from Manchester United's summer stance on their approach for Carlos Baleba. This is very interesting. We're going to get into details on this now in this update video this lunchtime, everybody. This is Forever United TV. I'm Adam. Welcome along to the update and everything that's going on around Manchester United. And of course, all fans are looking and searching for that bit of news, that bit of hope that Manchester United might do business when that January transfer window opens. Now, what David Ornstein has said isn't a guarantee that something would happen in January. And by the way, please do get your comments in on Carlos Baleba and the other midfielders who you think Manchester United realistically need to sign, if it's the January window or the summer transfer window coming up as well. So Ornstein asked the question on several clubs on a different programme about what player they need to sign, who he thinks they should sign. And then, of course, it came to Manchester United. And David Ornstein, who has been all over Manchester United's news and pretty much there when it matters, when we really need the juicy gossip and the real info, like the here we go, like the done deal side of things when it comes to transfers. He's the one, and he's the one that we always look out for. And when he speaks, you usually do sit up and pay attention. So why is it important? We're only in November, transfer window's not open. According to other reports, Brighton are not interested in selling Carlos Baleba until the end of the season. So why is it important? Why are we talking about it? Well, it's important because Manchester United are being linked with several other midfielders. We've got Angelo Stiller out there. We've got Buwadi out there. We've got Elliot Anderson, who United are prepared to bid for, apparently, in January. And then you've, of course, got your Adam Wharton links, who's come out recently and spoken, and David Ornstein's quoted him on waiting it out and seeing who actually comes in with a genuine offer for him from Crystal Palace. We're hearing about that gentleman's agreement for him, that he can leave in the summer. We're expecting Elliot Anderson to also leave in the summer. But when quizzed and asked who he thinks United need to sign, he has said quite clearly that Carlos Baleba is the man for Manchester United. But why? Why is Carlos Baleba the man ahead of everybody else? Well, he wants Manchester United. Manchester United want him. No, Brighton don't want to sell. Like we've just said, no deal in January. But Brighton are a selling football club and they will let Carlos Baleba go for the right price. It's all about the fit. It's all about what Manchester United have recruited and scouted. And David Ornstein only comes out with information when he knows it's genuine. And we know Manchester United's approach in the transfer market now. We know our recruitment team. We know what they're actually looking into. This from, obviously, the interviews recently with Jason Wilcox from MUTV on different platforms. One walking around a general interview with Mark Sullivan outside in Carrington on the grounds while the team was training. And then another one on the podcast version as well, where he goes into even more detail alongside the likes of Phil Jones when talking about how Manchester United have approached last summer and what we could kind of look forward to when the windows open again in January and the summer coming up next year in 2026. So Carlos Baleba wants United. Manchester United want him. Nothing has changed. Does this mean that Manchester United are going, like Andy Mitten of The Athletic has said, for two? Is Carlos Baleba always and always will be Manchester United's top target? This is what we've been debating as fans, but nobody comes out and says anything in the months in between the transfer windows being open. And only through chance from David Ornstein talking about this when asked a question in general for a different type of topic and a different type of piece of content, has he said that nothing has changed really. He wants Manchester United. Manchester United wants him. He would have come out and said something different if he thought there had been a change in tact within Manchester United's recruitment team or from the stance from Brighton. Look, he's made it very, very clear in what he said here. Carlos Baleba is Man United's target. Brighton don't want to sell, and Manchester United's is where Carlos Baleba wants to be. So they're the three main factors in it. So you can kind of put it all together and piece it into one and say, well, that means that Brighton will sell but not sell in January. That means that Carlos Baleba wants to go nowhere else, and that's the type of player that Manchester United wants. All it's going to be is how much is Carlos Baleba worth at the end of this season. Could this actually work out really well for Manchester United in that they could go out and get somebody else first, and then Carlos Baleba isn't worth as much because he's not had an outstanding season, and they're still going for him? United are using sports analysis now, and all of the facts and figures are broke down properly by everything that their recruitment team is doing now. It's a different world at Manchester United when it comes to transfers and how we look at players and what Manchester United are looking for. And it's the attributes of the player, it's the characteristics of the player that United are looking at, where fans can look in from the outside, like myself, and I have been critical of Carlos Baleba having his head turned. Is that a worry that his form has dropped because he knows that Manchester United are interested in him? Is that a concern for us all that player's temperament isn't what Manchester United need? All of this seems to have just been completely put to bed when David Ornstein opens his mouth, because every other journalist can go into detail about what they think and what their sources have said, and everything that's been laid out, Manchester United's so-called plans, who's talking to who, does he favour him? Ruben Amorim spoke to him in the tunnel, and that's the same as something that's happened before, like with Matthias Cunha when he moved from Wolves to United. But realistically, it's exactly where we was in the last few months of August, in the last few weeks of August, when Carlos Baleba was very, very clear he wanted Man United, but Brighton told Manchester United he is not for sale. There isn't even a price. And that's what Romano said in backing up David Ornstein on that in the last weeks of the window. So what does this tell us? Yes, United still want Carlos Baleba. Honestly, though, I don't think this is a bad thing, because I, for one, think that this is two players coming in at Manchester United, and that's why Manchester United will try and still buy somebody else first, and then try and get Carlos Baleba. What is the perfect scenario? Where is it Elliot Anderson and Carlos Baleba? Is that your 6 and your 8? Ornstein being very, very clear that United want a 6, and a 6 is the most important thing, and that's a big part of their rebuild. So quite clearly, it's someone to play alongside Bruno Fernandes. Elliot Anderson could do that, but obviously he can move forward as well. Carlos Baleba is an out-and-out number 6 and nothing else. Is it very, very specific positions that Manchester United are looking at? And this is why David Ornstein thinks that Carlos Baleba is going to be the man that Manchester United go for, and they will wait for him. Romano has already hinted and teased us with the news that Manchester United and Carlos Baleba is not dead. United will buy a midfielder or midfielders in 2026. Andy Mitten of The Athletic, the most connected man at the football club in the media world, has said 2 midfielders. Elliot Anderson is the best positioned at the moment. Was that hinting towards January? We will see, but it does give you encouragement that Manchester United are still working behind the scenes. But let me know in the comment section. Carlos Baleba, David Ornstein thinks is the Man United need to go for, and nothing has changed from the summer. Does that mean that Man United's stance hasn't changed and nobody else is there ahead of Carlos Baleba now? Give me your thoughts. Talk to me in the chat, everybody. Carlos Baleba, still number 1 at Manchester United. Like and subscribe to Forever United TV, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.